seems to me there's something extraordinary going on in Barrie, Ontario. No one seems to know exactly.
It's a record store. Are we ever really an employee? Like, come on.
No, it's just a place that we hang out that doesn't cost us any money.
Exactly.
We don't get charged with loitering when we're there.
Yeah. We get to hang out with like-minded people and we make money for it instead of spending it.
Oh crap, we're like minds? That's not good. That's not good for you.
I realized what I said too, and I'm like, I don't even want to make that connection.
Let's introduce our special guest. Can you take it away, Alex?
I definitely can. Okay, we are with Rules today. We're with Chuck Coles and Ben Rispin of Rules.
Good evening.
How's it going, guys?
Great, man. Thank you so much for having us.
No problem. Thanks for being here.
I was listening to your intro there, and I don't want to run away with your show by any means, but like, what's it like nowadays in a record store?
We're like one of the oldest stores in the company as well, so it's become like a cultural hub for weirdos and miscreants to hang out. But
That's cool.
It's always a good time.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I always dreamt of
physical records coming in. A lot of like people are still. It's just nice to I don't know because that was it's like a thing of the past it seems, but it's pretty cool that it still exists. Like I know, like I live in Toronto, so there's still that culture's still vibrant, but like where I grew up or something like that. Like there used to be Star Records, a place that we all, there was the guy in that shop. He told us about the Ramones. He told us about the Queers and like all these cool punk bands and like Gigi Allen and just weird shit, like obscure stuff that you'd never get your hands on, And I was always wondering, like, how did people get their hands on music? And if it wasn't for that guy and how important he was in the, how important that person was, a lot of people, at least in Oshawa, wouldn't have got a chance to get into the music we got into, So it's just like, it's kind of, you guys play a pretty integral role in like the development of a lot of musicians as well. Yeah, you might not think of like, like you're like, oh, it's just a job, you're not doing much, but you actually are doing a lot more than you think.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you to the musicians for giving us like a place to work and building that community around us. Cause it's exactly like Richard said. I mean, what are the majority of our business now is locals, people, regulars, guys we know on a first name basis, like people we know who will come in and we will, exactly like you said, they will tell us about bands we hadn't heard of. We'll tell them about bands that, they hadn't heard of. And it's exactly like you said. You said like, if it weren't for that guy, a ton of people in Oshawa never would have discovered certain music. We really try to be that guy in a way. Like our store tries to be like that type of place where you can learn about music.
Growing up, it was like learning about, like Chuck said, learning about cool punk bands and shit like that was, through the back of records or going to record stores or having some sort of small little hub like you guys provide to your community. And that's how we got it. But it was really cool to kind of put together that, Stomp Records is also those dudes that were like slugging it out, playing shows and, being punk rock like all the rest of us for so long. And then just kind of did it out of necessity. And now they're still doing it. Like they're, they've made a life, out of it. That's their livelihood. And then I couldn't be happier to work with them. I love them.
You can tell me that the world is on fire, and I look for a second opinion. We trust, mistrust until it suits our desires. Us versus them is the brand new religion. We take no credit.
The band itself, I think, actually started like late 2014 or 2015. And then we just didn't really do much with it. And it's like, it's not that we did it. Like we were always kind of a band, and then we'd try to do things. But like, the nice thing about COVID, if there is anything, is that it's allowed a few of us to work on some projects that have sort of been on the back burner for whatever reason. I mean, COVID was on the back burner for not just me with Rules, but like Chuck's, like, he's got two other, like he's got his own solo stuff. He's got his own, he's with Creep Show. He's always on the road. The Penske File, like Alex, our drummer, he's in the Penske File. He tours with them all the time. Adam Michael, he has his own band called Say Yes, who aren't doing too much these days, but yeah, he's on the road with Walk Off the Earth all the time. So just being able to get, and those are everybody's primary sources of income for as far as this is. So if we had anything planned with Rules and then something kind of came up, Rules kind of had to, take a seat because people have to fucking eat, right? So it just kind of, it's crazy to think that it's been 6 years because I do still feel like this is a new band, but because this is our first, full length album. But I guess in actuality, as an entity, it's been around for, a little bit.
Yeah, we get the opportunity to play some shows, and like we were saying, it's like the last, I think I said in 2018, the thing was to like, we were just going to have like, have some drinks, get together. I'm like, I got some ideas for new songs, and that's how we spent Ben's birthday. It was at the studio, and like we've kind of been at the studio. Like that was the studio is just like a place to just to be creative. But I think we're all really creative people. Like we're gonna spend our birthday on something. It's like let's get down to business. Like that shit makes like it's fun.
Yeah, it was kind of like, hey guys, everybody's like, what do you want to do for your birthday? And I was like, well, I'd really like to just fuck around with you dudes and play a bunch of tunes for a weekend, board ourselves up in Halo in Hamilton and just see what the fuck happens. And that's kind of what we did. And it's like I'm really being able to step away from it and coming back to it a few months ago and decided to put this right. Stomp called us up and said, hey man, it's been 2 years or something.
Where's our goddamn record?
Yeah. And so we were like, hey man, let's get into this. And I hadn't listened to it in quite some time. And I'm really glad we did it. Like to be honest with you, and I think this kind of fits the format and the theme of your show. I don't think that without this I would have been able to handle COVID nearly as well. Like it's given me something to focus on. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's it's just been a real gift. It's like
like even doing this right now. But it's like if you're a creative person or a creative mind and you have that kind of spirit, it's like you can't let these things let it die. You find every possible way to keep moving forward and to keep doing something like positive and productive. Because this has been so hard on so many of my friends. I'm sure like countless families, like even your friends or whatever. But
endless.
It's getting it's like it's not I'm not just making this about us. Like we just how much art's going to come out of this is a beautiful thing too. There's a lot of like really good bands, a lot of like amazing art that's going to flourish after this.
For an industry that thrives, like live local music, the entire industry thrives on getting a community together in one space. And in a world where that's currently just not feasible, where like hopefully it will eventually come back. But where do you see for the meantime, where do you see local music in particular going?
I think a lot of things are going to go underground, especially for the music that we love and that serves our soul. It's more of it'll always be there. We'll always find a way to make it happen. You know what I mean? There's a way. No matter what, it's gonna it's gonna be. I'm sure it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be as accessible because the precautions have to be taken. We don't know what we're dealing with. So until that happens, like there's gonna be a lot of like shit on like making tunes with your buddies on this stuff, you know what I mean, and doing those little collaborations, which I thought was kind of cool. You see a lot of people getting together, like bands that you never see and people playing together that you don't see. That's kind of interesting to see what comes out of that. But as for like the locally, unless there's I don't know, I'm not a fucking doctor, I don't know but unless there's like the vaccine, I think that's the only thing that's gonna be able to for us to be able to be in the same room.
For people who are going to come out and see Rules live, what are they in for?
Circus, a bummer circus called Truth 3.
Depending on how the day goes.
It's pretty heavy. Like we we don't address the audience too much. Like when we kind of got into this, I was pretty tired of being in bands and stuff like that. So I asked if Chuck wouldn't mind writing a bunch of interludes between the songs, so we didn't have to be like, you guys excited to see so-and-so? Like, there's very few people that can do the frontman job and make it not sound disingenuous. And that's not like that's.
You could do that, Ben. I know what you're saying, but I don't know. Sorry, go on.
I mean, like,
give you a compliment.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, but it's just how it just feels so rehearsed. Like what you're supposed to say, and it's come after a lifetime of doing it. And so just like, and it's not to be ungrateful for the position and stuff like that. So I will probably start to like thank people before the show, so we don't have to do it during it or something. But
I think something that we did, Ben, like I remember talking about this at the beginning. It's like we only had maybe 20 minutes of music, and we had like 45 minutes to fill. So I was like, well, let's just jam like in between, like, because everyone likes that. I like the not knowing part of playing music. Like, I don't know what's going to happen after this part. Let's just try to get into the next thing. And like with the right people and the right combination of people, like some fucking magical shit can happen from that, you know? I think it was we opened up for Grade or something, and we only have this amount of songs, and someone asked me like, why do you play that long? And I was like, well, that's all we have. And I honestly don't think a lot of bands should have to play that long if your songs aren't good. Like if you don't have, like, these are the best songs we had. I'm not just gonna just make up some other garbage like and be like, hey, let's play these things. It was like this is the best thing that we have, and we're gonna do that. And if it means like putting some stuff in between, but we're like, this is what makes us feel comfortable expressing ourselves, you know? So like, it's like, I don't have 45 minutes of music. I'm sorry, man. Like maybe if you want to play for fucking an hour and a half, feel free. But like, you're just an opening band, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of bands that just, you know, just kind of put your best foot forward. And like, it makes the audience, they're not fucking bored, you know? Like, or I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like, that's just for me, but I can listen to 5 songs of a band and be like, that was tight, you know? But 45 minutes of something like some material I don't know, and you know sometimes it's maybe not like the best, it's just not put together very well, I guess, at the time. I don't know.
If an opening band can start and finish their set, and I have not wandered over to grab a beer in that meantime, that's how I know you've played a good tight set.
It's not what you said. It's not in your head. There's nothing you did. It's just the same old shit. The same old shit done.
Ben, Chuck, can you please tell us, when is the album coming out?
So the record, digitally, it comes out March 5th. We're figuring out our physical stuff right now. It'll be on all platforms. It's called The Bummer Circus Comes to Truth City, which is a reference between Truth City is kind of a little joke that Chuck and I used to have. We used to hang out in front of the Bovine doing illicit drugs and just saying real shit to each other, you know, just be like, you know, and we didn't really know each other that well. I didn't really know Chuck that well, like at that time, and we would just be like, we just really liked hanging out with each other, and it's kind of like, yo, you want to be best friends for life? And it was like, yep. And it sort of went down that way.
The way that we love to end every episode is, can you please shout out other bands that people should check out or that you can't wait to play with again?
Yeah. Should we go at the same time? Because I'm sure we got a ton. Organ Thieves, Penske File, Dirty Nail, TV Freaks. I'm going to Chuck Cole's in the United States, Creep Show, Planet Smashers. Chuck, take over.
I just pretended I froze again. Everything you said there. I don't know. There's so many good bands, man. I don't know. Penske Files is a great band.
Harmonies.
I'm working on a record right now with my buddy John Craig Sifton, and I've been kind of like producing his stuff. He's got like 3 or 4 songs done right now, but yeah, check out that stuff. That's going to be it's an incredible record.
He's going to be one of the greats, old JC. He's going to be one of the greats.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. The last thing I'm going to ask from you two is, can you please give us a song to play us out on?
Chuck, you can take your pick. I don't know what to pick, Ben. You pick it. Bridges. Bridges is the first single. That's the one with the video. That's the one we sent you, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So everybody,
me and Chuck will argue about it for the next fucking hour.
We'll do episode 2, and then we'll start dissecting the album from there.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for having us, guys. It was a total pleasure, man. It's really nice to meet you dudes.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you again so much for joining us. Everybody who's watching, please enjoy Burning Bridges by Rules. Check it out when it comes out March 5th, and we'll see you for the next one. Ben, Chuck, Alex, great to see you. Take care, guys.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye. Peace.